So we start part two with number seven, Dexter Lawrence. Um, Man, was this tough to really come to an agreement. Dexter Lawrence had a great year, man. He's had such a great year, had such a great career so far. But the fact that Dexter Lawrence, there's just a lot of D tackle talent that I've seen some body of work that they have to be ahead of him, but he's one of those guys that could turn into a top five D tackle. He's got the potential to be one. He is a superstar. Um, Great ball player, entertaining to watch. Great run stuffer. Athletically can go to the outside and try to make tackles if running backs do run on the outside. Um, Great at sacking, sack specialist. Pretty much can do it all, just like a normal DTs now in this era. So Dexter Lawrence, he's super young. He's got a lot of time to develop, and I do believe he will be top five D tackle in the league very soon. Very soon. 25 years old again, 4 years in the league, 4 years, $87.5 million deal. He has a 2026 potential out with a 9.26 dead cap for the Giants. 16 games played and started, three pass deflections, two forced fumbles, 7.5 sacks, 68 tackles, seven tackles for loss, and 28 QB hits. So he developed a lot of pressure. He definitely was there um, every play, every step of the way, trying uh, to create chaos for that offense on the other side. So overall, fun player, man, fun player, strong player. Playoffs, played two games. They lost to the Eagles in the divisional. Two games, started both of them. 12 tackles, one tackle for loss, four QB hits. Again, for a playoff, it's pretty good, man. He had his ability of impacting the game, impacting the playoffs, and they ran into a juggernaut Eagles team, so there was no way that they were going to win that game. No offense in there, but their defense not bad. I know week one was pretty tough to see, but Dexter Lawrence, he's still going to have a productive year. He is a second team All Pro, and he is a Pro Bowler. So he has a lot that he has proven this past year, and I can't wait to see what he does this next year. And it's only week one, so he's got a long year to make some magic out here with his numbers. And right now, he's number seven in my book. Number six, we're going to be looking at some Washington Commanders D tackles on this list. Definitely both of them made it. Spoiler alert, but I don't think anyone really assumed that they wouldn't have made it on this list, especially if they weren't honorable mention. The first one that we have at number six is Jonathan Allen. Um, Scary man. He's a scary dude. Fast for a D tackle. Um, he's not as agile, but he gets there, dude. He gets there. He's a run stuffer. Um, he is powerful. He is smart. His IQ. He's still uh, decently young, so he could still impact the game. I am unfortunately kind of disappointed that with these two great DTs that they do have out there in Washington, they still don't have a solid foundation. I know they impact the game every Sunday, but overall, their defense isn't the best, and their team isn't the best, and I think it's kind of taken away from Jonathan Allen and the other guy that will be announcing later on. Their potential, man. Their years on this league and trying to get a championship. Trying to get a Super Bowl, trying to go to one, trying to win a playoff game at least. So it's sad to say that, but if they want to stay, they want to stay. They got paid, and they're still gonna ball out. Jonathan Allen is balling out every single year. A problem for the offensive line, and he does what he does every single year at such a great level. 28 years old, 6 years in the league, 2 year, $48 million deal, 16 games played and started, one interception, three pass deflections, two forced fumbles, 7.5 sacks, 65 tackles, 16 tackles for loss, and 17 QB hits. He was a Pro Bowler. They make playoffs again. Washington didn't make playoffs. We'll see what happens this year. I think he's still going to be productive and still be that impactful player. I want to see if they can be relevant, though. It's going to be a hard NFC's division with the Eagles and Cowboys, and the Giants. They look terrible this past week, but maybe they'll get some wins under their belt. Um, Jonathan Allen, I think he'll be impactful like always. Hopefully, Sam Howell on the offensive end will be what we think he could be, and what I would like him to be is a stud. So that way I could see more teams being better in the league, and it's good for the game, man. So overall, Jonathan Allen deserving of being in this list, and number 6 is a perfect fit for him. I mean, he's borderline top 5. So overall, he's going to be on this list for a while. All right, we get to the top 5, and number 5, DeForest Buckner. Um, 6'7" tackle. That's pretty scary. Calais Campbell was one of those guys as well that was in that height range. It's just really scary seeing that guy have that much speed and that much power coming right at you as a QB, and you really don't know what you're doing. You just kind of freeze up and you're panicking, and you got to get the you got to get the ball out of there, or else you're gonna get annihilated. DeForest Buckner is just one of those special human beings that every year he balls out since he came out of Oregon, and it's it's one of those things where the 49ers definitely benefited, regardless of him not being on the Niners team. But honestly, with him being there, I think that would have been even more deadly. And I do feel like he could have won one. I feel like with DeForest Buckner out there, but it helps that their D line is always so good, so talented. But Indianapolis is one of these places, these teams that not many people talk about. Not many people want to talk about them or look at them just because they are an average, okay team with players that no one knows. DeForest Buckner is definitely well known, or he at least should be well known from his play for this past career years of what he's done so far. And he's top 5 for sure for what he's been able to do, the impact he brings on this Colts defense. DeForest Buckner, 29 years old, 7 years in the league. He has 2 years, $40 million left on his deal. So could he stay in Indianapolis? Nah, we'll see. I think he could go somewhere where he can contend and win a Super Bowl, to be honest. So if he's smart about it, I feel like he could definitely go somewhere. Um, 17 games played, 16 started, 3 pass deflections, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, 8 sacks, 74 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, and 22 QB hits. Again, no playoffs, no accolades, which is a shame, but um, you need to look. You need to, if you're a football fan, you need to look at DeForest Buckner. You need to see what he can do. Um, some menace, and he definitely deserves to be top 5 in this league. Number 4, we got Daron Payne. Daron Payne, young dude, another guy right by Jonathan Allen's side, who as well impacts the game for Washington. This is a great run defense with those two guys in the lineup, and it makes it fun to watch Washington football with those two guys there, at least the defensive side. Other than that, I don't have many players that I look at the Washington Commanders defense and be like, wow, they're really great. It's mainly just the front four, those guys at the defensive line that make it entertaining. That's their strong point. That's their strongest point of the team. Now it's time to build around that and try to figure out what else they can do because Jonathan Allen's aging, and Daron Payne is still young, but you're gonna waste his entire prime, with a new contract to do nothing with it. So they got to figure that out. But I like Daron Payne right now. He is top 5. He is number 4, well deserving of it, just to the impact he's done in his career. And this year he had a great year this past year. So if we look at Daron Payne, 26 years old, 5 years in the league, 4 years, $90 million that he signed of a contract for Washington Commanders D tackle. He has a 2026 potential out. It's 11.2 million in dead cap for the Commanders, so that's pretty big number. 17 games played and started, 5 pass deflections, 1 fumble recovery, 11 and a half sacks, 64 tackles, 18 tackles for loss, 20 QB hits with 1 safety. The only D tackle that I was able to kind of look at that's in this list in honorable mentions that had a safety. So good on him, and he was a Pro Bowler. So no all pros. I think they're coming soon. I think people just don't look at Daron Payne like that because they don't look at the Commanders like that. But Daron Payne should be an All Pro. and I hope that this season he can prove that he can be an All-Pro. So overall, though, Payne, fantastic player, double-digit sacks as D tackle with all this that he can do. He can do everything. So overall, I am excited for what is about to happen, and Commanders are gonna have a tough year maybe, but at the same time, an entertaining year with the Daron Payne there, Jonathan Allen, Montez Sweat, etc. So Daron Payne though, deserving of number 4. All right, we get down to the nitty gritty here. We got number 3, the top 3. Number 3 is going to be Christian Wilkins. Now, Christian Wilkins is a freak of nature. Um, he was able to get almost 100 tackles as a D tackle, which is insane. He's a huge part of the Dolphins defense, and unfortunately, Jalen Ramsey's injury made them a little less dangerous. But I mean, overall, Christian Wilkins is a huge factor of this D line. Um, One of the only guys that I could say is a true superstar on the D line for this team. I mean, they're young, so Christian Wilkins is the guy that drives the boat out here, and he is electrifying. He is elite. He is fantastic to watch. Fun guy to watch. Um, Christian Wilkins, 27 years old, 4 years in the league, 1 year, $10.75 million on his contract. He played 17 games, started him, 6 pass deflections, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, 3.5 sacks, 98 tackles, 16 tackles for loss, 7 QB hits. In the playoffs, lost to the Bills that one game in the wild card. He had a sack, 4 tackles, and 2 QB hits. Again, he does it all, man. He does it all. Pass deflections, forcing the ball out of opponents, out of running backs, receivers, sacking when he can sack. He will sack QBs. Tackling machine for a D tackle and a run stuffer, man. So overall, he got a lot of things going for him. He's still young. I still think he could be higher on this list. Just the 2 guys that are above him are just out of this world, and I couldn't put him outside of that. So overall, I think Christian Wilkins though is an animal, and he'll continue to be an animal. And I'm excited to see what he does this year. So Christian Wilkins deserving of number 3 right now. Um, yeah, it's a bright future for this guy. Number 2, we got the guy that's meme was all over the place, man. I mean, funny as hell with what he did over there. Sneezed and said, "Bless you, thank you." Uh, just a just a really cheesy thing, and it's gotten people talking, and it's just one of those things that that's one of the funniest things ever, honestly, from athletes. When they do things like that. But overall, I mean, what do I have here? I have a stud. I have a future defensive player of the year. I have an all pro. I have a guy who is going to destroy people in this league for a long time, and he's so young. And another Alabama product of D tackle superstardom, right? Quinnen Williams, number 2, Jets. I mean, they needed to sign him. They did re-sign him for long term, and that's great because the Jets, you know what the Jets want to do. They want to have a good defense. I mean, from the history of, I mean, even them not being the greatest, I mean, they've always tried to make it a focal point of having a solid defense. And having Quinnen Williams is insane. It's awesome to see that. Quinnen is 25 years old, 4 years in the league, 4 years, $96 million, the deal that he got, 16 games played and started, 4 pass deflections, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, 12 sacks, 55 tackles, 12 tackles for loss, 28 QB hits. He was 7th in the Defensive Player of the Year award. He was a first-team All-Pro, and he's a Pro Bowler. I'm no doubt that he stays healthy, does everything well, and he continues to progress, continues to ball out like he has. He will be a first-team All-Pro. He will be higher on the Defensive Player of the Year list. And I mean, he'll be a Pro Bowler for sure. The only thing is, there's no playoffs in there. I want to see him in the playoffs. He's one of the few guys I want to see. What is he going to do in the playoffs? Is he going to ball out? Is he going to come out and show the world what he's got? And it's unfortunate because the Jets have had missed luck. with that. Been unlucky with them going to the playoffs, especially questionability of what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers. He's out for the year. Is he going to come back? I mean, what's going to happen? Who's going to start for QB? Pretty sure it's going to be Zach Wilson. Are they still a playoff team? There's a lot of unanswered questions. When in the beginning of the year we were talking about Aaron Rodgers and the Jets and being a huge contender for the AFC East and making a deep playoff run, and can they get to a Super Bowl, and that all that, and then Aaron Rodgers gets injured and now everyone's like, oh well, they're vulnerable. But overall, I think they'll be fine. Quinnen's going to dominate, and Quinnen's going to do his thing. He is one of the best D tackles in the league. He will be number one eventually. Got to give Chris Jones some time to age, and hate to slip it out, but that is who's number one. I don't think a lot of people are surprised about it. But Quinnen is right there, man. He's an impactful player, great player to watch. First off, I gotta say sorry. I gotta stop doing that when I'm commentating about who is number one. But I mean, a huge thing of what I when I try to compare and stuff, I let it slip. So, but I definitely will control that because then there is no mystery. There is no who's he gonna pick. Chris Jones is number one though for this one. I think that was a clear thing, clear sign that he is number one. He is the best D tackle in the league. He's immovable in terms of you just can't block the guy. You're gonna need three linemen, 2, 3 linemen, strong guys, to try to make sure that Chris Jones don't get through you. And Chris Jones is incredible. He was a big reason why the Chiefs lost last week. I would say. I mean, not that they needed him per se. I think they needed Travis Kelsey more, but having him there, that's very impactful. Honestly, could have they probably didn't have that David Montgomery run if Chris Jones was there. Detroit probably would have lost that game. So overall, the Chiefs. I mean, they're trying to be a dynasty. I think they're going to be a dynasty. I definitely could see them winning one more bowl, 2 more bowls maybe. It really depends on what happens, how the offseason hits, and injuries, obviously. But Chris Jones is elite. Chris Jones is the real deal, man. And definitely future Hall of Famer. I could see it right now. Future Hall of Famer, all decade team, that kind of guy. Impactful player. He's 29 years old, 7 years in the league. 1 year, $23.16 million franchise tag. I believe there was a little bit of a mix in the contract since I just started writing all these down. I think he got a new contract. It's still 1 year, I believe, but I'm not sure if it is a tag or not. Anyway, 17 games played, 17 started, 4 pass deflections, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, 15 and a half sacks, 44 tackles, 17 tackles for loss, 29 QB hits. In the playoffs, they won a Super Bowl. He's a Super Bowl champion. 3 games played and started, 2 sacks, 8 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 6 QB hits, third in Defensive Player of the Year, first team All Pro, and Pro Bowler.